So welcome everyone and very good evening to all. Welcome you all to this interesting session on Apollo Mumbai Critical Care Learning Network. So today we have a very interesting topic and we have very eminent faculties with us. This is something different. This topic is something different from other routine critical care practices. And this is basically the topic is leadership in critical care. Going ahead further, I think we have all the leaders who have proven their excellence in the field of critical care, including our senior professor, Dr. Ravi Mahajan. We are happy to have him here in this forum, and I welcome sir to inaugurate the session. So Dr. Professor Ravi Mahajan is basically Professor of Emeritus, Nottingham, UK, and he is our Group Clinical Director, and he is basically the leading force behind today's program. So I'll welcome Dr. Professor Ravi Mahajan to this forum, sir. Then,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. And myself, Dr. Gunadhar Padi, I am the coordinator in charge critical care Apollo Hospital, Navi Mumbai. And with me, my co-colleague, Dr. Akhilesh Tandekar, consultant critical care Apollo Hospital, Navi Mumbai. So welcome you, sir, to this forum. And I really appreciate your feedback and discussion at the end of the talk. And with us, our eminent speaker, Dr. T. Satish Kumar. Basically, Dr. T. Satish Kumar is one of the excellent speaker and faculties in the field of critical care medicine. And we are proud to have him here. So Dr. Satish Kumar is working presently in the Apollo Hospital in a meticulous health, and he's a meticulous healthcare professional working at Apollo Hospital, Secunderabad. Competent healthcare professional providing a significant boost to the healthcare system, over 25 years of experience. And he has held several degrees, the diploma in anesthesia, Indian diploma in critical care medicine, Indian fellowship in critical care medicine, and executive MBA in advanced management program in the healthcare from the ISB. An achiever per excellence, Dr. Kumar steered successful development for the Department of Critical Care Medicine to position Apollo Hospital, Secunderabad as a center of excellence. So we would like to hear from him the best practices and how to develop the skill of the leadership program in critical care medicine. Welcome, sir, to this forum. And with us, our eminent faculties, Dr. Bijay Misra. So Dr. Bijay Misra is from Medical Super Speciality Hospital, Ranchi. He is basically heading the critical care unit, along with, he is also one of the head of the administration. So that is why we have invited him, and let's hear from him all the difficult critical integrity in the leadership program. With us, I would like to introduce Dr. Ashish by our colleague, Dr. Akhilesh, and then we'll soon starting the program. So Dr. Ashish has proven a leadership role. He has started his own venture almost 5 to 6 years back. And now he's heading the hospital, and he's one of the directors of a very good hospital, the Aureus Healthcare System in Nagpur. And I welcome Dr. Ashish to this forum, and let's hear from Dr. Ashish what are the different steps to success in the leadership in critical care. So with this, I welcome Dr. Satish Kumar to present the talk, and followed by the panel discussion by our fellows and by our colleagues. Thank you.
So good evening, sir. Good evening, Emeritus Professor Dr. Ravi Mahajan, sir, Vijay Kumar Mishra, sir. And thank you for giving me this opportunity by Gunadhar and Alok, sir. I'm very much thankful to you because it's a different topic. Being a critical care specialist for the last 20 years and talk that is related to administration or management leadership is relatively tough, but I'll try to make it very simple, and I try to highlight only few things that we usually lack of. Even though we are good clinicians, we are far behind when compared to any administrative skill. So we don't have time to think over always 24/7. We only think of the patient, how best we can organize his hemodynamics, oxygenation, all those things. We never bother about the implications of finances, implications of work overload, all these things. So in the coming 25 minutes to 30 minutes, I'll be talking on this, how we have to transform ourselves into a clinician and a partially an administrator. So unless we know certain things into this, because we will be overridden by some people. So at the age of my 50th year, I have done this MBA in ISB. It's a 1-year course. I have done it. So I learned many things there. So I just want to share a few of my learning points to you. Thank you. And my topic will be like, initially, I will be talking about what are our routine duties of an intensivist. Then I will give you a small narration about a short story and how we can incorporate our leadership qualities looking at that story. After that, what are the basic leadership traits that we need to inculcate as a habit? Then what is the next step to go forward, and how the growth will be influenced by learning all these things. So it's like almost like a 4 chapters like thing. So introduction wise, in our medical school, we are always focused on our clinical excellence, how best we can do Hudson manual from the point of third year clinics. We only look about the patient, his BP, pulse rate, saturation, oxygenation, well-being, always like life and death situations. So we never bothered about interpersonal relationship, administration qualities, how to they influence people. These things were not taught in our medical school days, and we never come across such events. No, we always focus ourselves to the patient care, only patient care. So in these situations, no, when you suddenly become like an ICU doctor, you will be alone there in the ICU, and some few junior doctors will be there under you, or few maybe otherwise a team will be there supporting you. So ultimately, there we have to have like 2 people cannot think in the same way. So for that sake, like you will be having a conflict of interest. Then there will be interpersonal relations, how to organize, how to convince people, how to get things done by convincing others. These things we never learned in our medical school days. Then next thing is we talk to the family. We have to tackle their emotional situations. We have to identify their needs. We have to be very empathizing to them. So these things we never learned in our MBBS days. Then ultimately the challenges, the management, how best we can procure the instrumentation, how best we can organize, what is best to the patient, and what is the instrument that is required to bring the patient out of the crisis. So how best we can organize them. They say that it is very costly, so they don't want, but even for saving one patient, though it is costly, we need to procure it. So how best we can convince them, negotiate them, and how can we can like organize those things to the patient care. So these are all the things we are lacking of, and suddenly once you become the ICU head, so all these things will sit on our head. So we need to inculcate certain leadership qualities, like we have to have a reasonable, we have to build up good personality, and we need to have a like leadership qualities we have to inculcate. Then how best we can build up a good team dynamics always holds good in critical care. Then how best we can get the support from the staff, cooperation from the staff, and what are our communication skills. So we need to develop a very good communication skills to influence the people and get the things done. So far, whatever as an intensivist, most of the times we deliver our services to the patient, to the consultant, and to the hospital. To the patient, we give the clinical care. Definitely over a period of time, we are experts in that, managing the critical aspects of any branch of medicine. Say it neurology, say it cardiology, say it neurosurgery, say it neuromedicine, whatever it is. And the dying patient, we are the best. That's ultimately we handle in a better way to save the patient and get him out of the crisis. Then we similarly, we have to talk to the family, how best we can make them to understand the situation, how the patient is bad. And second thing is how we need to tell them that what are the implications, how we prognosticate, and these things are very, very important. So we need to have a good communication skills. Now, all the critical care specialists, we gone through the spikes protocol, we know how to break a bad news. These things are inherently we learned all these qualities. A good communication skills already we learned, but we need to apply those things in the critical care. Next comes the consultants. Consultant, and this like these patients are taken care by primary consultant, and the patient is as long as in ICU, we also should support them. So interpersonal relations need to be maintained. Maybe there will be some difference of opinions. I want to give fluid, and the patient, the consultant may not be in a position to accept. I want to give antibiotics. I want to send some tests. So primary may not be accepting that. So these things we need to convince them, get it done, because ultimately it definitely matters to the patient. So good investigation backup, good treatment modalities, all these things we need to convince the consultants before it is being instituted on the patient. And ultimately, as long as the patient is in ICU, we 24/7 give the service and keep our primary consultant with peace of mind at that home. They can sleep very well at their home because we are in the ICU. Next to the hospital. So hospital, we are partially in part of the administration. So we conduct so many committees. You know, we are all almost like doing a chairmanship for infection control. We are the chairman for drug committee, chairman for some protocol committees. So much everywhere we are being utilized, and it is a privilege for us to get into those things, because why the people are asking us to do those chairmanships? Because they found that we are competent. So that is one thing we are looking into. We need to understand. Second thing is, and we have a very, very pivotal role in organizing these accreditations like NABH, JCA. So these things, sometimes 360 degrees audit in Apollo. So everywhere there is a role of an intensivist, because we need to train the staff. We need to make them to come to the standard of NABH at JCA. So this is all one side, what are we are delivering, and how we are delivering these things by our clinical expertise. We are doing a very good family counseling, and we are a part and parcel of various committees in the hospital. We constantly participate in accreditation acquirement of NABH and JCA. Then we have to manage the people, right? We have to interact with the nurses, interact with the housekeeping, interact with the pharmacy. So interpersonal relations, people management is one skill we need to develop. Then conflict resolutions. Now the two doctors, now primary says that the patient is somewhat good, but we say that looking at the prognostications, like what yesterday there was a meeting, Apache 4 and SMR rate, we are looking into standards. So those things, if you tell, looking into that, and we can openly tell that this patient has a 65% of chance of dying. So patient family are not in a position to understand that. So there will be conflict between the primary consultant. So this is the examples I'm telling. So then comes, we have to build up a good team, because nobody can give a 24/7 services. So all of the team should have in the same like-mindedness. If patient is in hypertension, the protocols to be organized. So what to be given first, what not to be given. If it is Dr. X is there, Dr. Y is there, Dr. Z is there, whatever it is, the treatment should be the same. So we need to have a proper team building. Then technical expertise, and we need to understand how a ventilator works. What is different modalities of modes in that, and which ventilator is better, which company is better. So which is giving a good quality, a good backup. So all these things we need to understand. Then comes, we also a part of the teaching. We conduct intensive care curriculums like IDCCM, IFCCM, so much like regularly we organize the CMEs, we organize seminars. So this is the whole spectrum of an intensivist, what he really does. Unknowingly, we do so much of these things which is a part of our inherent leadership. So this background as an intensivist, now let us just walk through the story of Robin Hood. I just want you to understand how the system runs and where is the failure and how to analyze a failure. You all know that Robin Hood is a comic hero. As like in childhood, most of our people are very, very fond of Robin Hood. Like we adore him like a king. So basically what happened in this particular story, maybe in the coming 10 slides or 8 slides, I just evaluate how the Robin Hood started his business. We took it like a business. How Robin Hood, I incorporate it as a business, how he started the business, how he continued the business, and what is the downfall for his business, and what are the modes to uplift his business back to the normalcy. So in these lines, yeah. First thing is, every company or organization at one point of its life meets a critical point. Say it any company like. So unless you understand that critical point and you need to have a reconstruction structure, that will be a disastrous, that company will be in the dustbin. Examples, Nokia, Bajaj, Xerox, Kodak, General Motors, all these things, once they ruled the market. Bajaj is the only scooter available and people are very prestigious to have a Bajaj scooter. Nokia, that was the only phone, which almost like I have seen it in everybody's hand in those days. Then Kodak revolutionized, and all these things now, they are not at all available in this present market. Bajaj is completely gone. Nokia struggling. Xerox is completely gone. Kodak is gone. So because of the advent of the new technological developments. So we have to be in pace with the developments. Then is this exactly what happened with the Robin Hood story and his merry men. He has basically, it's an introduction to Robin Hood. So Robin Hood has a conflict with the is a rival in the High Sheriff of Nottingham. He's the local leader. Commonly say that, like it's a local language, is the local leader, and Robin Hood has a fight or some conflict with him. So Robin Hood developed a small set of people, called it as a band. They are called as merry men, and they live in the Sherwood Forest. And there is like a king, which is the supporter to the sheriff. King is backing sheriff, and King Richards is the person who is being imprisoned, and he is an associate of Robin Hood. So Robin Hood idea is to release this King Richards from the hands of Prince John. So this is the background. So the concept of Robin Hood is rob the rich and feed the poor. So this is the basic vision. We call it as, in the modern days, we call it as vision or mission. So the to steal from the rich and give it to the poor is the mission. And ultimately what the idea of, like, once you get the money, they have to pay the ransom and they have to release the king. Okay, they have to release his associate king, what we told about King Richards, from the hands of Prince. Okay, so the different people in the Robin, 4 people of like-mindedness, like Robin Hood, Will Scarlet, Little John, and Sherlock. These 4 people, they joined hands and they started this one. We, in the modern medicine, we extrapolate these things to Robin Hood is the CEO, Will Scarlet is operations manager, Little John is the manager HR, and Sherlock is finance manager. So this is the roles allocated for them. And Miller is the logistic manager. So next is Robin Hood. What he wanted to do, he want to improve his bandwidth. So he want to recruit more people. So the strength of his team is the more numbers. So whoever is coming and having a like-mindedness, like I am against to the King Sheriff. So I want to join hands with the Robin Hood. So that's the idea. So everybody coming into the Robin Hood, one thing is he used to give a nice pay package, like whatever it is, food is taken care, shelter is taken care. So many people are slowly getting and joining into Robin Hood team, and now the business is flourishing in. So every day they used to block the way in the forest, and they rob the rich people passing through the forest, and they get money, and ultimately that money is slowly building up. So this is what his business is slowly expanding. So he is the person who is Robin Hood vision is slowly is getting into his associates, and slowly what happened is Robin Hood is becoming like a big asset now. So he has a ideology is Robin Hood is a committed leader, and that he has a very roadmap like to carry up his vision by earning money and releasing the king. So here what happens is basically the operational structure is particularly patient. The operation structure, the 4 people which were allotted for their roles, one is taking care of intelligence, scouting, mapping, when to rob the people, daytime, nighttime, all this planning is being done. They have a very good discipline, and one guy is always trying to get the money and make it into various pockets and save them. And ultimately, one guy is taking care of HR, who has to feed the band people. So regularly he takes care of how many people are getting recruited into, how many people, how much the expenses. So this part is taken care of. So we call it as HR. So this was working well for some time. So slowly what happened is Robin Hood lost control. Slowly it is the phase is getting declined. So what happened is now, because his business is not doing well, the common way of getting into things is we have to have a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is nothing but we have to understand our strengths. We have to understand our weaknesses. We have to understand what are the opportunities that are available to expand my business, and what are the threats in doing so. So coming to the strengths of Robin Hood is a very good leader. Then he's a strong supporter of the farmer, because local people are supporting, because they're all against of sheriff. So he has a very good local band support. Then slowly group is getting stronger and stronger. And ultimately the men are very, very excellent archers. They are very good, skillful guys. So all these things looking that is a strength. And ultimately what happened is the whole village is supporting Robin Hood. So local support is there. The weakness is slowly is losing control. So discipline is lost in the team, and Robin doesn't know who is getting recruited, what is his background, nothing. So people are slowly coming into the Robin because they get food. Because more unemployed people are coming into Robin Hood without having a proper vision and why they are doing this. They simply join Robin Hood because food is free. They may not be knowing what is the actual goal of the Robin Hood. So they lost the vision. Then revenue resources are declining because more people are entering into, and rich people are avoiding going through the forest. So the revenues came down. The one side, these expenses are going up in the form of this livelihood. Then more people are coming, but nobody is checking their skills. So previously there used to be archeries are very excellent. Now the archeries are not that much trained. So that is one thing. So other side is the Sharif is slowly getting closer to the princess. So these are all the weaknesses. Then coming to the opportunity wise, what should we, how best we can expand our business by getting more revenue? So at least just take off robbery aspect and levy a tax who is going through that forest. And then thing is expand to different areas, different forests, so that many areas he can collect money. And otherwise there is a parallel thing is happening to release the King Richards. We have to merge our business with another business. So this is what he is doing. Ultimately, the best part is kill the king and release the his associate. Threats were one side, Sharif is getting stronger, people are avoiding the forest, and his revenue is getting down. These are the threats. So SWOT analysis, we understood that his strengths, his weakness, the opportunities available, and the threats what he's facing. The effective SWOT is we have to identify our strength and expand in the strength area, and we have to identify weakness and not to touch that area. So this is how we have to have a E-SWOT. E-SWOT is nothing but smart one. So additional to that, the critical mistakes Robin done is welcoming everybody who is trying to join the job, and lack of similar passion. Nobody understands the vision of Robin Hood, what newcomers, and Robin Hood maybe robbing the rich and feeding the poor. That is now taken up. They avoid going to the forest and they took a different route. Only poor, even though it is costly, they are having an alternate route, but poor people are just going through the forest and they are being robbed. Now the poor are robbed, rich are left. So this is, they lost the vision. And killing Sharif is very, very difficult. So the causes of this failure is internal and external. Internal are unplanned growth. External is a lack of revalidation and rich avoided. So all these things are discussed. Alternative routes. There is no discipline. Okay. So now what is that? We have to change our vision. We have to change our concept. We have to change our strategies. So Robin has to do now. He should have a new mission. His objective should be very, very, now they have to change and strategy has to be changed. So options left, well, I told you, fixing a tax who is passing through. And there is like parallel organization who are trying to release the king. He has to merge his company with that other companies. So next comes, so ultimately what they have done is they have, the ideal thing is you have to review your internal strengths and who is better competitors you are dealing, then ultimately take the advantage of your strengths. Whatever I am capable of enough, I have to expand my business in that area and try to avoid our weaknesses. Don't try to look into the weakness areas and don't try to burn our fingers looking into the weakness side. So next comes, so ultimately the outline of opportunities to take the advantage to increase the customer loyalty, that is the local people has to support us, improve the cash flows and become more productive and explore the new markets. Maybe he has to go to some other areas, like maybe he's working in one Sherwood forest. Now his team has to expand to the other forest areas where there is people are moving through that. And review, I have to identify the local issues. No, when we are working in India, how best we can organize. When we are working in some other country, what are the local laws and implications? So and ultimately eliminate your weakness. And strength is to be matched to the opportunity. I am very, very strong in my area and there is an opportunity in the market. Yes, merge those two things and ultimately we'll get a success. So this is how we have evaluated. And there are goals were there, smart goals are there, specific, achievable and relevant goals, and they are to be time bound. We need to have a very specific goals. There we need to have some metrics to measure it and how best we can achieve that. And is it relevant to this present situation and how long it will take? It should be definitely, every goal should have a time span. We can't short-term goals, long-term goals. So every time we have to reevaluate whatever we are doing intermittently and we have to change our strategies sometime. So the business opportunity, I told you, it has to merge up with other areas. Ultimately, any HR thing, but we have to educate the people, we have to train the people, new strategies to increase the cash flow, new business strategies like mixing and merging with other companies. And we need to constantly will have a skill development programs. So current strategy, what Robin we suggest, he has to have a new mission to free the people from the Sharif, supported by Prince John, and return the King Richards to the throne. It is not that robbing the rich and feeding the poor. Here, the vision is changed. Goal setting has to be done. There should be good structuring and training. Select a new strategy. Okay, then comes, this is a small story, though it is boring. I just want you to understand a business, how to analyze when it is not doing well. I took Robinhood as an example, but kindly apologize if it is boring for you. But this is the point I want to understand you to, like, how would you analyze that? How will you expand your business? How will you not getting faded out of the present existing market like Nokia, like Bajaj, like Kodak or Xerox? So this is how we have to get into. Then coming to a basic leadership qualities, what best we can do. A leadership quality is an art of motivating a group of people and to act towards achieving a common goal. In a business setting, this can mean directing workers and colleagues to and everybody should have a common goal. We need to educate our people, what is our goal, and I have to motivate my people. Then, how to become a successful leader? Yes, these are the people, relatively, they are very, very eminent personalities in the business strategies and leadership talks. And John Maxwell, John Collins, Sumatra Ghoshal, and Jonathan Haidt. So I just go with their independent contribution to this leadership. Jonathan clearly has given 5 positions for a leadership, 5 levels. Level 1 is a position. Just because I got a promotion, I sat in this seat as a business head, cannot work. It's only hierarchical, short term only it will sustain. When I don't have a capacity to sit in that chair and organize things, I will be a failure. So this is positional leadership is always is a level 1 leadership. It just came by itself, but I have to inculcate a good habits to sustain that position. Then permission leadership, just because I'm close to somebody, relationships, I just maintain good relations, even though I'm not good at my skills, I'm not good at my qualities, but just because I'm good with people, people have just proposed me to become a leader. It's a permission leadership that also won't sustain for longer periods. Then comes to the production. Just because I'm a hard worker, I show results. Because I'm showing results, I was brought into this seat. So this is like somewhat better because I've shown some results, but it is also may not be a long-term sustainable issue. Then comes people development. So this is the area where the original actual leadership comes. So servant leadership, this is, see, I teach people, I mentor people, I create more leaders. So if I create more leaders, and this obviously organization will go because everybody has that quality of having a leader. So ultimately, everybody are looking and working for the organization. Ultimately, the organization will go forward in the positive direction. So this is the first level of positive way of looking into the leadership. Like it's a people development or called as servant leadership. Example, I think Nelson Mandela comes under this group. The level 5 is pinnacle. Pinnacle is like it's an ultimate. Like I don't think there is any leader. It's an ideal situation. They have enriched the lives of others and lead their organization to change the world for the better. Again, I can say it is Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, or some Martin Luther King. Maybe these people comes under this category. We can in the history wise, whatever you take, we can count them on the fingers. Like a level 5 leader is called as pinnacle leadership. So level 1, where people showed leadership ability, but they are not. They just came to that position because of their hierarchy. Yes. When people follow a leader because they have to, they will do only what they were taught, but they don't do with their mind and soul. This is what they understand. Then comes the level 2 leadership is depends on the title to make the follow them. So they lack the influence needed to motivate, inspire, and direct, but they just sustain to be a leader, but they cannot influence others. Level 3 is he shows results. Like if somebody brought into this, and previously my hospital revenues were only around 8 crores per month. Now somehow he had made this hospital revenue gone up to 10 to 12 crores. So he's a good leader for that hospital, but it is only result-oriented leadership. But what made this positive impact? How many people are struggling to meet these criteria? Is they really doing good to the hospital, or is it long-term there will be any bad is happening? one thing. So if we, example wise, if I want to improve my ICU revenues, I can extend 1 day of my ICU patient stay of 16 beds, 1 day into say it like 50,000 rupees. So ultimately I'm getting 12 patients means it is 6 lakhs. So overall my revenue will go up. But is it ethical to do that? No. So this is how it all depends upon how we are organizing. If results are done properly, it is okay. If results are done with something like unethical way, maybe it may not hold good. Then comes level 5 leadership. Level 5 leadership is pinnacle. Most of the people, they don't do things. Whatever they are doing, it is their lifestyle. It is not that I willfully doing something to get the applause. It's not that. It is that I am doing it because it is my lifestyle. So this is lifestyle of the leader is becoming like level 5. It has to be a part of our lifestyle. Next, Collins has given a different steps of leadership. So in this level 1 is highly capable individual. He is a very good, excellent. I am a very good critical care specialist. I revive any patient that comes into my ICU, how bad it is, like level 1, but it's only individual. He does not have the qualities to become a leader. He's only individual skills, and individually he is successful. Maybe whether he can transfer this success into a good leadership quality so that he can lead the people or mentor people. Level 2 is a contributing to the team member. It's a great team work is happening there. Everybody is contributing and I am able to organize a very good interpersonal relationship. Then it is level 2. Level 3 is a competent manager. Yes, even though my skills are very limited, but I know how to extract the work from my people. It's a teamwork. I could able to manage them. I could able to extract the best. It is like competent manager. Then effective leader is he has a catalytical property and he can stimulate the people to commit themselves for the work. See, it's not that I alone is the leader. I am making more leaders now. I am stimulating people to become a good leader. So ultimately whole system will go in a positive direction. Level 5 is what the similarly it is like a pinnacle leadership. Coming to the ethics and the leadership. So ethics and values ultimately is from our brought up, our family, our exposure to the society, and in religion, country, it all differ from one country to another country, one religion to another country. So ethics, basically it is inculcated depending upon our background, first thing. Second thing is in this part, Jonathan Haidt, an American social psychologist, given a 5 underlying principles for ethical values. So he narrated 5 ethical values like care harm foundation, fairness cheating foundation, loyalty betrayal, authority subversion, sanctity. So similarly in this, like care harm foundation is nothing but I'm just dealing with a small baby. How I deal a baby? Like I have to like take care of the baby. So like no harm, nothing. So everything is taken care properly and is the first step. Coming to the second step is when I am going to take a decision in the institution. Please see the vertical part is the foundations. Horizontally, am I doing something which reflects to self, that how it reflects onto me? Maybe I have taken a decision now and ultimately that worked well and I got a promotion and I am good shower. But thing is, at long term, what is happening to my company? And maybe how it is impacting the community and the society where I am living. So the decision right now I am taking as a leader and what is its implications on myself, my company, my community, my society. So we have to look into these areas and incorporate those things into either it comes under care harm, fairness cheating, loyalty betrayal, authority subversion, sanctity degradation. So everything we need to value versus values. My value is doing something and how it is reflecting to the value to the society, value to the self, value to the company. So here what we should understand that this is one more thing by Mr. Sumantra. He's from Calcutta. He has given a TED talk. He was telling that a metaphor called as the smell of the company or smell of the society. So the smell is nothing but the existing situation. He found that the context of any company is inherited, and ultimately what he found is it is not that me going and setting into some uncomfortable area. See, I might be a very good leader in X hospital and looking at my skills and somebody has given me a good job in another hospital where I might be a failure. The failure is because not that I am incapable, because the situation, the local context and the smell of that hospital. Smell means it is not simple smell. I'm telling it is like existing situation of the hospital is not suitable to my leadership qualities. So there, what I feel like in the smell it creates to me is a very constant. I am very much suffocated there. The compliance I am not able to maintain, and the control system. So much of things are not congenial for me to sustain there and show better results. Instead of that, it should be like how best I can stretch, how disciplined it is, how much I can trust, and how much support I'm getting there. Example, this guy given a talk like he is basically from Calcutta. For the summer holidays time, he come to Calcutta and he was telling that though it is my native place, I come in the summertime. It was sultry, so sweating. I'm like day morning, waking up itself is very fatigue for me. Rather, his job area is somewhere around Italy or some, I forgot. So he says that when I go to my job area, the climate and everything, like I just want to work simply, but the things are making me to jump, run, and do more work. So person is the same. The place is different. In Calcutta, he was feeling suffocated. In Italy or somewhere, he was so jubilant to like extend his work. So this is what they told that the culture of the existing company is suitable to me or not. Okay, there shouldn't be a control. There should be self-discipline, and there shouldn't be any like performance. Normally, what happens is the test of the quality. What we see is we do a metrics. How much is earnings last year? What is in performance indices like appraisals, all these things. But he says that test of the quality is not the performance. Performance is a noisy stool. But he says that the management creates that shapes the behavior of the people by creating. See, everybody should have that feeling that I am working for Apollo. I am working this particular institute. How best I can contribute. So if we can inculcate that quality in people, ultimately it flourishes. And just because I am getting salary and I'm doing some showing some figures that last month I have done this month, okay, I'm okay. This month also I'm doing the same thing. I don't get any scolding from my CEO. I'm happy for this month. That shouldn't be the way. Then comes the basis of practical leadership is combination of social competence and management tools. Okay. Personal resources, how best I am skilled. What is the knowledge for me? What is the awareness of the, am I aware of the problem? What is happening? And do I know the remedial measures through this? This is what is called personal resource. Then social competences, like I need to have a proper communication skills, the ability to solve the problem, influence the people, get more persons into, get the things done right time at right place. So all these things. Management tools, I need to have a good human resource development and organizational developments. I need to have facts, what is happening and how best we can improve. Then what are all the, we need to courses that coming to the final part of my talk. So having understood this is what leadership required and what we are in the first two slides, we are only intensivists. We don't know leadership qualities. In between, I told you that what are all the possible ways to analyze the difficulties or setbacks. Then we understood what is the best leadership. Having known this, where do I get this? How best I can inculcate good leadership qualities? Like, so we have to go with certain administrative courses, like short-term courses, like any certificate courses, long-term courses like diploma in hospital administration, diploma in healthcare, master's degree in healthcare, like some masters in business administration in the healthcare. So many things are there. Kellogg's Institute is there, some seats is there, Symbiosis, so many institutes. Like I have done like Indian ISB, Indian School of Business, Advanced Management in Healthcare. So these are the things. But whatever it is, you need to have some grip over the non-medical aspects, like good control or understanding over financial statement analysis. Then we need to understand what are all the present existing marketing strategies. Then leadership strategies, already we know. Then management of organization, how my organization should be organized. Then ultimately, I need to understand what are all the various processes that are happening in my hospital. I need to look into the operations. What are the operations flow? Improvement, like coming to the part like previously. So we need to understand that I have to have an idea about economics, healthcare economics, market. What is the price elasticity of the market? What is my competitor is doing? A CT scan in my neighboring lab, it is doing for 4,000 rupees. What is the quality? What is the turnaround time? how much time I am taking, what is the time spending of the patient in my hospital. These things we need to look into. We need to have a proper idea about the healthcare economics. Then costing, how much each bed in my ICU is costing to me, bed charges, like how much I am spending, what is the nurse patient ratio. So if we know these things, costing per bed is how much. If I keep this patient, this bed vacant for a day, how much loss I'm incurring, how much if I fill this patient, how much I'm going to revenue generating on this bed. So these things, utility time, bed utilization, OT utilization, OP utilization, everywhere we need to have a concrete statistical analysis of what is happening to my hospital, my ICU care. If I get a ECMO machine, yes, it is costing some, maybe I don't know, arbitrary figure I'm telling, maybe it is 30 crores, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs, whatever it is. So if I run one ECMO patient, what should be my costing on that patient? What should be my pricing? How much I have to pitch into? What could be the price per day? What is the maintenance? What is the initiation? What are the consumables? And similarly, when I'm having a third parties, like I'm having like insurance patients, I'm having like government, CGHS, railways, so much of there. So I can't organize an ECMO patient. And when my revenues are more than 60% or 70% are from the third party payments. If the cash flow is very low, if my insurance patients are very less, so having a high costly instrument is not a viable thing. So these things we need to understand. And how best I can improve my revenues. Rapid turnover, decreasing the length of the stay in the hospital, ICU, rapid turnover, and procedural activities. So these things, how best every bed should generate a patient on the day 10 in ICU having a tracheostomy, poor GCS. He is just occupying the bed in the ICU, whereas any patient, that bed is given to a acute septic patient, septic shock, putting arterial and central and intubation, ventilation, all these things generate a lack on that particular day. Whereas the same bed is occupied by a guy who is a neurosurgical patient, post-operative 10th day, like almost severe brainstem dysfunction. I'll be getting hardly 10% of what I'm getting for an active patient. So we need to understand where the revenue generation is more. Then cost cutting, unnecessary wastage, war on the waste is one thing we need to look into. So much of redundancy is happening. So war on the waste. So if you can highlight these things, so ultimately overall revenues will go up. Once the revenues are going up, then have an edge over the rest of the things. We need to understand the process flows, improving the capacity building, which is the bottleneck area. How best I can override that bottleneck? Because if something happening, an obstacle, how best I can go? Okay, then cross training. This is what we learned from the Toyota model. So the Toyota model is known for its process flows. Any process, it need to be like, we need to identify the process flow. Keep a patient on your shoulder and see how he is moving in the hospital from the entry point. He goes to the reception, take that consultation, then go to the first floor, talk to the receptionist, then the sister checks the blood pressure, then some investigations written, then go to the junior doctor, then junior doctor gives some more investigation, again go to radiology, again go to ultrasound, then coming back with the report. So how much time is spending? Where is the late is where the delay is happening? Can I get rid of the delay? What is the time? Is it the peak hour morning 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? What is the same capacity happening at evening 4 o'clock? Maybe Sundays, if you're running Sunday clinics, most of the software people will come on that particular day. So how best I can cross-train the people so that everybody can do any work. A receptionist cannot do only receptionist work. He cannot do BP. He cannot see BP. It's not like that. Receptionist act as a receptionist, but if required, he has to come to the clinical side and check at least some BP, reading all this thing. So we need to cross-train the people, and the best model is Toyota model. And ultimately, we need to understand the finances. Finances is the best thing. If you don't know anything about finances, we are dumb. You need to look into the balance sheet, check the P&L statement. What is the EBITDA? What are the goals? What is the last year our expenses? What is the last year profits? Revenue generation? All these things we need to have a look. This, I forget about all my topic. Only understand this sentence: cash is the king. No, nothing is like beyond this. Cash is the king. If you generate money, you will be having an identity in the hospital. If you don't generate the money, whatever skills you do, nobody will consider you. Cash is the king. Then how best you can improve your business as an intensivist, almost like last 2 slides. The future is EICU or tele-ICU. I think down the line 2 years, I'm telling you, take it as my word, EICU is the future of the intensivist. And remote monitoring, already we have started doing this knowingly, unknowingly, thanks to the COVID. We have all done this remote monitoring and tele-ICU. Many of our friends called WhatsApp call who has seen that patient, pulse oximeter reading is that is tele-ICU. So it's a primitive model, but it is being expanded like anything. And the first thing, initially, Dr. Ramakrishnan sir started in India, and now they are still catering in Bangalore based, the cloud physicians are doing it now. So that is the future now. They are remotely monitoring patient. They have a camera. That camera is so powerful that they can look into the pupil from the hub center, which is located XYZ area, and spoke centers are there in line with some smaller ICUs where you don't have a critical care specialist, but they have cases. They can't. Previously they used to send that patient to nearest higher center. Nowadays it is not required. We can expand that spectrum of retaining the patients there, and we monitor from the hub area. And tele-ICU is the future of an intensivist. And otherwise, you can organize a post-ICU care centers. Because at one point of time, I'm telling you, I want to send this patient and I want to create a new bed which is utilized for a very hot patient, like acutely ill patient, where I can do more business on that bed. So I want to get rid of a patient who is bedridden for more than 10 days and nothing actively can be done. This patient requires only Ryle-Ship feed, back care, something FASTag analysis. Those patients are being now discharged from ICU and being now shifted to post-ICU care centers, rehab care centers, palliative care centers, or you can name anything like it is like a transitional care center. So this is the area where you need to capture. This is the best area where you can expand your businesses, and more so business to business, B2B, we call it as. You establish your team, your thing in a particular ICU, outsourcing others ICU, and you deploy people, intensivists go there, give them your services, get a tie-up with them. They don't employ their ICU, their staff. They give a lump sum amount to you, you run the show as per their requirements and norms, get into memorandum of understanding and any agreement. That is the best way to get into. You can expand your business by capturing more ICUs anywhere on the earth. Then challenges, if doing like this, basically everybody should accept that there is no awareness of what is an ICU and who is an intensivist. People still thinking that intensivists are duty doctors. Even in the hospitals like Apollo, they call us duty doctor only, even though we are qualified enough. So we have to change. It has to come from our side. We have to change that vision. We are also specialists. And if we are not there, ICU management, see, ICU managed by an MBBS doctor and ICU managed by a definite IDCCM or FNB critical care guy, not similar. So, but the thing is, no, critical care specialist salary will be around minimum 3 to 5 lakhs, and duty doctor salary will be 50,000 rupees. People think that it can be run even with a duty doctor with the help of a primary consultant. So primary will be on the phone and duty doctor will say, sir, your patient BP is low. Then on the other side, start noradrenaline. This was the maintenance of the ICU, but it has to get changed and it should start from the intensivists only. We have to create that sense of intensive care is something different. And we have to make the people to understand the importance of the critical care. We need to have admission right. I told you, cash is the king. If we have an admission right, we also can show the money generation, revenue generation, then we'll have an existence. Otherwise, we will be giving service, unrecognized services. That's all. And we need to have a revenue identity. This critical care specialist, he got admissions last month, 20 admissions. He generated some 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs or 40 lakhs, whatever it is. There is some generation under our name. Otherwise, we will be sidetracked. Then we are all understand that we are all slowly going towards tele-ICU and we are strongly dependent on technology. Particularly, we need to have a backup software and hardware. So that is the future. Our skills are, see, if people are coming from the other side, putting this artificial intelligence as the human brain, and they are coming and they are almost managing everything. Google. So artificial intelligence will slowly may replace existing doctor brain and the rest of the things are being run by software guys and hardware guys. So try to be like a change. You have to accept the change. Don't be like a traditional intensivist who will become another Nokia, another Bajaj, another Kodak. We have to upgrade our skills in software. We have to have a proper idea about that. So that is one thing. Then we need to have an interpersonal relation, good quality, team building need to be there. And ultimately, everybody knows that there is a burnout syndrome for an intensivist. If you have a good team, this burnout syndrome may not be there. So this is the standard leadership. What they say, you need to have empathy, you have to have a good listening brain, and you have to have a critical thinking. You need to have a sound decision making, ability to work independently, blah, 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 all these things. Okay, it comes by itself. And we need to have all these things are discussed. So this is ISCCM. They have given a publication. It's a critical care delivery in intensive care unit in India. It's a recommendations defining the function, role, and responsibility of a consultant intensivist. It is there in the website. Just go through that. They have given the responsibilities of an intensivist. I don't want to take much time. This is the final slide. Leadership is an art that is developed over time with ethical values and cultural fit. Leadership is not something that can be given, but it has to be earned. I don't want a positional leadership. I want to earn my leadership like a level 4 or level 5, as Maxwell said. Then it's a long process. Nothing will happen overnight. Reaching level 5 is not an achievement. It becomes a lifestyle. Like I told you, King Martin Luther, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, these people can be called as level 5 leaders. For a leader, work is not the first foremost about what they get, but what they should be. Build, create, contribute, and create more leaders. That is the way. Ethical values and values, don't try to deviate from the normalcy. Maybe it is like, you can think that it's a slight deviation for this time. Maybe another slight deviation. Ultimately, at one point of time, you look back, you are miles and miles and away from the existing ethical values. So never try to deviate from the basic values. Minimize this incrementalism of violating the rules. Very strong point. Never try to incrementalism, don't participate. So slowly, it's only small thing, no? Only one day, no? Only half thing, no? Only 2 minutes, nothing like that. If you slowly deviating from the ethical values or norms or protocols, ultimately at one day, you look back and see how far you have traveled from the original values. Cultural aspects, the smell of the society. Smell here is the metaphor. I'm telling you, it's not simple smell. It's a metaphor. It's the context, it's the situation where we are actually working. And try not to fit into the suffocating system. Rather try to or modify the culture of the system by stretch, discipline, trust, and support. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I don't know if it's relevant or not. I'm sorry. Apologize.
No, it's a wonderful talk, and it's really, I think, one of the very wonderful talk we have ever heard. And it definitely has an eye-opener for all the intensivists who are attending this today's program. Around 60 intensivists are there in the forum. So going ahead further, I will just request Dr. Professor Ravi Mahajan. I can consider him to be one of the pinnacle leaders in our field, the Director of Critical Care Integration, Apollo Critical Care. So, sir, can you just give some messages to our intensivist? I think Dr. Satish Kumar has already elaborated in a very nice way. So what is your take-home message, sir?
No, I think that was an excellent talk by Dr. Satish Kumar. I really enjoyed it. What can I say? Well, I think, there are different ways of how you define leadership and different styles of leadership. But as a professional, the way I see it is that there are different levels, of course, from delivering the services to developing the services to managing them. But I would also think that unless you are, developing future leaders, as Dr. Satish Kumar said, by education and research, you are not excelling in your job. And I think a good leader in our profession, if you see anyone, of course, there are good national leaders, you talk about, world leaders. But if you look at in your own profession, see who's the critical care doctor or a physician or a surgeon that you would like to emulate or you want to be like, who is your role model, you will find that this person has done very good job. He's good at his job or she's good at her job. They would inevitably have developed a service. Either they borrowed the service from, they've learned new skills, new techniques, they brought them in. They then start to manage that in a way which is, Dr. Satish has mentioned, in a profitable way or in a way that helps the patient, but also helps the organization. Not only that, they also then teach the same skill or the new development to their juniors, and they create future leaders in that. And very often you'll see that they have published some results on that new technique or new development or whatever new thing that they bring in. So it's all about vision, the strategy, the motivation, as you mentioned. But then the motivation has to be also value-based. And if the value is patient-focused, you can never go wrong. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So what is your views, Dr. Bijay Kumar Mishra? Because you are one of the leaders in your field. You are managing the hospital. Good
evening, Professor Mahajan and Dr. Satish. Before I say anything, I must say that Professor Mahajan was a big name when I was pursuing my fellowship in London. And later on, I learned that Sir has taken over as the president of RCOA, and then he was awarded that Queen's special thing. So, yeah, I've always seen him as a leader. More so also because we saw him someone who had an Indian name. So how do you become a leader, right? As Professor Mahajan was saying, you emulate. Whom do you emulate? You emulate big people, successful people. You emulate a crowd, or rather a practice which is done very commonly. And you tend to do it, even without thinking. You emulate successful big people without thinking. You just don't think that I want to be like them. It just happens. So we got to be very careful in choosing what you're emulating. So one has to be really self-conscious of what we are emulating, where we are drifting. As Dr. Satish said, the drift, you do not notice it until you have gone too far away. So that is very important for a leader to keep his goals, his objectives, and the ways to achieve that in a fashion which can be measured, which can be audited, and only then we will be able to create new leaders. And one of the primary objectives of a leader is to create more leaders, because that's only when the ball will roll. One leader comes, does something great, and then dies and goes away, leaves everything back to square one. So that is exactly very important, that a leader has to be really disciplined, focused. And if we talk specifically of critical care, as the topic is, we all know critical care is teamwork. And a team is nothing without a leader. So leadership is must for everybody who is in critical care. Yes, senior leaders have a responsibility of developing new leaders, and they don't evolve into leaders by listening to what we say. They become leaders by watching us what we do. So that is very important in critical care, that the leadership at every stage, right from the most basic to the top level, that's what I have to say about this.
I would request Dr. Ashish. So Dr. Ashish is a burning example of intensivist who can lead a multi-specialty hospital of his own in Nagpur. So Dr. Ashish, please, your views.
Yeah. Hi, sir. The lecture was excellent, Satish Kumar, sir. But as you said correctly, the issue with the leaderships are so that who you are emulating, to whom you are following. That's true thing, as we have to need to follow in your principle. But as you said correctly, along with that, you have to run your show. That is a practical thing. You have to build up your team. You have to again look after your staff and your supporting system. They should work in all emergency situations, and you have to give the outcome along with that. And third and most important thing, like you have to develop different department, different part, like it's like a ECMO team. You have to develop CRRT management team. You have to like a trauma ICU. You have to neurocritical ICU, and then develop your leaders in different areas by identifying your potential of your staff or your colleagues, and allocate that particular department to that team and develop different leaders into that. It's my view also along with this leadership. That's a good thing for us. And it's we listen a very good talk on this topic for giving a different view all along with all this topic also. Thank you, Satish Kumar sir. Thank you, Gunnar.
Yeah, thank you. So we have all.
Hi, Dr. Gunadhar, I have a question. It has always been thought like, leadership is something which may be challenged at times. I mean, you develop leaders, and sometimes you always have that obsession or thought process or negativism in your mind that at one time or the other you may be replaced by your future junior. I mean, current junior who may become a leader later on and you may be replaced. So this negativism that is there growing in minds of people, how do we replace this? And I think this is a big challenge. And that is why we are not able to produce more leaders. I would like to hear from all the panelists and the speaker as well, Dr. Satish, and Dr. Mahajan. You can please highlight this issue as well.
Yeah, Dr. Mahajan, sir.
It's always a good day when somebody more capable replaces you. I always believe in it. My boss in Nottingham University, Alan Aikenhead, he would always say that I actually want your publication list bigger than mine, so that when you become professor, you are regarded more than I have been, and that will be a better day for the department. And I felt exactly the same way when I left university my department in hands of John Hardman. He has much more publications than I have. He has better record in getting the grants. So, if your juniors do better, that builds better future. And that is, you should take pride in the fact that you brought them up to that level, that they actually look better than you. And that I find is very, very reassuring and very, very fulfilling. So I don't see that as a threat. I see that as an opportunity. And I think we must endeavor to impart education. I see my junior anesthetists, they are much better than I am in doing lots of things that, I probably taught them. But now I can't perform 12-hour surgeries or be in theater for 12 hours. I can't do those sophisticated procedures that they do. But watching them do that gives me the kind of satisfaction like nowhere else. Where can I find that kind of satisfaction? So I think if your juniors replace you, that's a good day for you. Because what you have learned on the way, you're not going to find yourself redundant. So I don't take that as threat at all. That's an opportunity.
So I'll just
I'll just add one line to what Dr. Akhilesh asked and what Professor responded to it. While he was talking, I was thinking, if you do not help your juniors grow and replace you, they will displace you. So you rather be replaced by somebody whom you really believe in than being displaced by somebody they will grow. See, we can help them grow faster, right? You cannot stop them from growing. So either you make them grow and replace you and not be displaced.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd just like to have one sentence to it. Basically, leadership is a progressive quality. So every time there is a challenge and you have to fit yourself to the new challenges, and you should know how you can modify to the different next level of your leadership. So that is the most important part. So by the time you promoted to the next level of leadership, your juniors are following your path. So this is how the system will grow. I think this is my honest opinion. So what do you say, Dr. Satish or Ashish, in this regarding?
Dr. Vijay Kumar sir said it is like very, very sensible. I really enjoyed that words, that replace or displace. Obviously, we have to accept our juniors, because what you said is correct. We will be escalating to the next level by that time when he come and occupy my position. Similarly, no. So he come to my position, then by that time I will be escalating to my next higher level. So obviously that gap is there, and it is not the only thing. Like skill set is not the only thing. By that time, the maturity, gray hair, and talking skills or communication skills or interpersonal relations definitely will create edge over our juniors. It's not that only putting an RT line or center line.
Yes. So the other thing that I usually tell my younger colleagues, and they kind of slightly smile at it, is like, I tell them the only difference between me and you is I was born 20 years, 30 years before you, right? That's the only difference. Tomorrow you'll be here, you'll be in a better position. And yesterday I was born 20 years later to somebody. So yes, it's a process, and we have to keep help each other growing, and there will be good stuff.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So Dr. Tejas want to ask something. So if he can unmute himself, Dr. Tejas. But somebody can unmute Dr. Tejas. So I'm seeing his hand raised.
Is he still online?
Yeah, I think so. And there is one question from Dr. Sanjeev Kumar. So he wanted to praise that or ask, leadership qualities are basic need of all intensivists. Yes. So it is up to you how you are developing yourself as a leader, and which spectrum you want to see yourself. Like whether you want to become a leader in research, or you want to become leader in the clinical skills or administration, or some kind of things like developing a tele-ICU. Like Mahajan sir is one of the burning example where he trained all of us to become the intensivist of remote locations. So this is, I think, one of his favorite areas. Sir, can you just highlight on this, sir? Role of intensivist apart from ICU.
Well, first of all, you are a doctor and you are a good human being. I think then comes whatever specialty you have. And within that specialty, you've got knowledge, skill, and attitudes which are slightly different from another specialty. But I think as long as you are a good doctor and good human being, one of the slides that Satish Kumar showed, where there's the empathy and the value-based system. So if you are empathic to your patients, it doesn't matter whether you're an intensivist or a physician or a surgeon, you are a good doctor. And I think that we shouldn't forget. We shouldn't, in the spirit of advancing ourselves to be specialists and super specialists, we often forget our base. And our base has to be a good doctoring. I think we shouldn't be forgetting that. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, sir, any other message like either Dr. Satish or Dr. Bijay Misra or Ravi sir want to give to our future younger generation intensivist? Yes,
there is one more question, sir. One more question, sir. Sorry.
Yes,
How to manage your colleagues or co-consultants with equal competency?
Yeah, treat them equally.
Praise them. You should appreciate goodness in everyone, wherever you see, because that is reflective of yours, your own character. So if I have a colleague who's equally good or even better, we say, well done, mate, you really are there. And you should see the smile on the face and how it is reflected. So yeah, it's all about spreading goodness.
Right.
True.
One more question. What is the best way to resolve interdepartmental conflict, especially in open ICUs?
Yeah, if I have to answer this question, I think being straight and on the face is probably the best way to handle any conflict situation. So without going through channels, passing messages, if there is a conflict, then it's the best to reach the person directly, tell him what you think, appreciate what he has done, and then come to a consensus. I think that's one of the best way to solve a conflict. Professor, what's your take on that?
Well, whether it is you or your colleague or your juniors or a nurse or whosoever it is in the hospital, you're all there for a reason. And the reason is the patient. So if you all move away from your personal egos and focus on the patients, I think the conflict will disappear.
True.
So it is question of what was required for the patient. So if you don't agree with a particular kind of treatment, just have to back it up with the evidence, because the evidence always talks about what's good for the patient. So if your value system is around patient, then there won't be many conflicts. But if you say, I don't like this, then that is different. If you say, this is not good for patient, you may be wanting to say same thing, but it is where the focus is and how to avoid conflict. I think the best thing is not to be in conflict, but you avoid it. And the way to avoid it is to focus on the patient, because that is why everyone is there.
Yes. So the one comment is on the chat box, patient should be the first priority in all the situations.
Yes.
Well, that's why you are there. Yeah. If there's no patient, you have no role.
Yes. So any message, sir, you would like to give to our newer budding intensivist? So how they do decide their career goal going out further?
Very difficult question, Gunadhar, because we're all driven by different things and we all have different ways of thinking about it. But I think so long as it is for greater good, whatever you want to do, so long as it goes beyond just your own sort of satisfaction, it's for greater good. As one of the leadership qualities that Satish Kumar mentioned in one of his slides, how do you judge? Is it for you, for organization, and for community? So long as whatever you do reaches community in one way or the other, that's the good thing to do. And that will give you the satisfaction. I don't have any further thing to say. I think there are so many other drivers people have in life, and that's fine, so long as whatever they do reaches common good.
Yes, sir. So Dr. Satish Kumar, what is your message for all the budding intensivists?
Nothing, sir. Only thing is be in track with the evolving innovations. Don't be a rigid traditional intensivist. Be in track with the technology that is coming up and be in pace with that. Otherwise, we will be just forgotten. I don't want to become another Nokia or another Bajaj. Always.
So one part of it may be entrepreneurship. How about
Sir, I did. Akhilesh, sir?
I think
Akhilesh.
Network issue. So that is just exactly what we have discussed, like evolving yourself into a different skill
that we should institute. But how about when you really want to start your own and go into entrepreneurship? So how is it? How safe it is? And would really that change your perspective, and probably it will safeguard your future because you would be in your own. If you are an entrepreneur, if you have your own organization, you would be on your own. Probably it may be a long-term business for you also. So I would like to hear from Dr. Ashish as well. I mean, how that entrepreneurship qualities can also be built up in an individual intensivist. I would like to hear from Dr. Ashish and later on from all the panelists and the speaker as well. Dr. Ashish?
Yeah, I think so. It's like individual again, as you have said, you are going ahead with I came in a private practice as a team again. I came in a team. Like even though I come as an entrepreneur, I started my own hospital with around initially 50 and then come up with 100 bedded. But I always work in a team. And this topic is really, it's just about your leadership. You have to manage along with your colleague. You have to just avoid conflicts. Conflict is good. Optimal conflict, as you said correctly. You have to discuss about your patient. Our target should be patient-oriented outcome. You need to deliver the outcome. You will get good result. then your colleague from other department, they will also praise you. They will support you in your treatment. They will not like again against patients' outcome. They will not say anything to you, and it will not hamper your practice, but it will definitely increase your practice. And this is indirectly lead to your development of the business, and all these are secondary outcome, I will say. But first and foremost thing, you need to work in a team. ICU is really not possible for individual person to work. You have to work in a team only. It's just not and again, at the end, you need to deliver the result, means outcome, positive outcome of the patient. You have to give the good services, and then only you will develop yourself and you will grow. And then secondary outcome is, as you said correctly, entrepreneurship, and in the form of finance and earning. It will start. But at the end, it's like everyone has to face same outcome and result with their efforts and with the good team buildings. That definitely you need it.
So entrepreneurship will be on a long run. I mean, will it help you in a long run, or corporate? I mean, if you're in a corporate, it will be better.
As again, I think Satish Kumar sir also said, and Ravi sir, it's like in private, you also deliver the result at the end. You have to give result, then it will indirectly reflect in your practice, indirectly reflect in secondary income in the form of finance. And that's just all these are secondary things. I think in corporate also, you have to deliver with your good results. And along with the, as you said correctly, outcome, you need to deliver a good outcome. It's practically not possible. You will earn without delivering the patient outcome. Is without giving good outcome, it's practically not possible for us to give the income to the organization or for yourself also. This is my purview.
Yes, so I think with this, this is a wonderful session, and I really thanks all the panelists, especially Dr. Professor Ravi Mahajan, to spend some time with us, Dr. Satish Kumar for the wonderful discussion, and Dr. Vijay Kumar Mishra for the wonderful insight. So there are a lot of comments in the chat box, nice and positive thoughts throughout and very encouraging. And Dr. Niranjan also wrote great discussion. Please keep it up. So with this, I like to conclude this session, today's session, and again, we'll definitely like to associate with you in the next program on the next Thursday on polytrauma. So be with us. Thanks, and thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Gunadhar. Thank you for asking to be here.
Thank you.
Bye, Akhilesh. Bye, sir.
Thank you, Kumar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Satish Kumar, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mahajan, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Mahajan.
Bye, Dr. Ashish.
Thank you, Dr. Ashish.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir. Thank
Bye,
you, sir.
Gunadhar, sir. Bye, Ashish, sir.
Bye, sir.
Good night.